choose from here. And then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this legal tampering period edition of Believers Talk. We are going to break down what's going on in Buffalo. Right now, we're not hearing too much. So, what is the plan for our Buffalo Bills? Does Brandon Beane have a plan? I'm pretty sure he does, but what is it? We can talk about it a little bit right here on Believers Talk. So, again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you're new to this channel, guys, I just want you to go ahead and do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Like this video. If you haven't already subscribed to Believers Talk, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Notifies you when we post new content. Constantly posting new content just for you, especially with the NFL League year coming up. Again, the legal tampering period started today at noon Eastern time. All day we've been waiting to hear from the Buffalo Bills. We haven't heard much. Haven't heard much at all from the Buffalo Bills so far today. The same here, I'm still watching NFL Network, of course, and I'll keep you up to date if I hear anything. I'm so early, I heard your intro live. Hey, homies, how you doing? Glad you could make it. Guess he got coronavirus. Who's that, Brandon Beane? Who knows? Who knows what's going on right now? Jack Patrick back at it again. Absolutely. Hey, even when there's nothing to report, I'm here to report it, okay? I'm here to constantly keep you guys up to date. Maybe something will happen while we're live on the air. If it does, you know I'm going to have you covered, right? Tomorrow I'm going to have you covered throughout free agency. I'm going to have you covered, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Guys, if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button. Let people know we are here to talk about, well, the lack of anything happening with the Buffalo Bills, but there's still plenty of time. I don't want people to think that the lack of movement in the beginning could mean anything. I mean, there are still a lot of free agents out there. We'll go over the NFL.com's 101 top free agents going into the free agent period, and we'll go over the ones who haven't signed with anybody or haven't supposedly signed with anybody. So we'll see what happens. So what's up with Shaq Lawson? Shaq Lawson reportedly is getting ready to sign a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Miami Dolphins, which means he's getting about $10 million a year. And listen, if he wants that kind of money, first of all, good for him for getting it. But secondly, I didn't want Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills paying that much money for him, so I'm not too disappointed that Shaq Lawson went to Miami. Best of luck to him. We'll play him twice a year, so we'll get to see him. But hey, we're not going to pay $10 million for a guy who only played somewhere between 30 and 40% of the snaps last season. So again, great news there. Good luck to him in Miami, but we'll get to see him twice a year. But if you remember Shaq Lawson, when he was playing majority of the snaps, he didn't have the type of production you'd want to see. So we'll see what happens in Miami. But again, Shaq Lawson signs a 3-year, $30 million deal. Kind of has one, how we doing? Pump for free agents into Buffalo. Hey, we'll see how many free agents the Buffalo Bills get this year. Again, I don't see it being as many as last season when we got, 20 plus free agents last year. I don't see it being that high of a number, but we will see what happens. Being said, he will be busy signing our own key players, then some depth in free agent. Again, I mean, even if this in this free agency period we re-sign Tre'Davious White and get him that big contract, if we re-sign some of our key players, I'd be okay with that. And then seeing who was left available. I mean, Brandon Beane says some things and then goes out and does other things a lot of the time. I mean, we saw that last year with McCoy. We've seen that in times past where he's gone out and said, oh, this is happening, and then made a move that a lot of Bills fans weren't ready for. So again, just because he's getting ready to re-sign and restructure some of our own deals doesn't mean he's looking at some other guys that might have us out there. I'm betting Buffalo is hard for Cooper. Hey, that would be a great signing for Buffalo, absolutely. And that's one of the names we are going to talk about. Safest place on earth right here in Joe's Basement with Believers Talk. Hey, anyone's welcome down here, man. It's a great time. And like I said, I have the TV on right now watching, and they're showing the more details about the trade earlier between DeAndre Hopkins and the Houston Texans, and I think Johnson, the running back there, going to Houston. So big trade there, of course. Biggest news of the day, probably. But Miami's been making some big moves as well. So we can talk about that. Harsh reality is no one wants to come to Buffalo, says Spencer. That's not true. Not true at all. You might have a hard time, be hard pressed to get some of the top free agents. But we've seen Buffalo get some good free agents, right? Now, most of them are most of them are trenches type guys, right? Defensive line, offensive line. But let's be honest, that's where you win games anyway. So we'll see what happens. But just because there's no talk, or at least nothing that we're hearing about right now, Todd Gurley has trade talks. What if the Buffalo Bills are in those discussions about Todd Gurley with the Rams? Could you imagine bringing Todd Gurley? Now, I would want the Rams to eat a lot of his contract. Let's be real about that, or for him to restructure. But can you imagine Todd Gurley as a running back two behind Devin Singletary? That would be a pretty good 1-2 combo. Wish Shaq all the best. Absolutely no hard feelings towards Shaq Lawson except for when he plays Buffalo. And then hopefully he doesn't get anything done. None of the bigger names will ever sign here. That's just a fact. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens, Spencer. Remember, for 18 years, we were losing all the time. So now that we're winning again, now that there's a future for this team, might convince some of those big names to sign. And again, Cooper might be someone we're going after hard. Hey, Elliot, how you doing? Welcome to Believers Talk. He's going to an AFC East competitor. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. Even though he's going to an AFC East competitor, again, we'll cheer against him 2 games a year. Whatever happens after that, that's fine. We don't need the big names, just need the right players for the right situation. And that's the 100% truth. We don't always need the big name players. We just need the right players. Even if it's a big name guy, he needs to be right for this scheme. He needs to bring in the right culture, the culture that Coach McDermott, Brandon Beane want to bring into Buffalo. And again, there was a culture of losing in Buffalo for 18 years. 18 years of losing in Buffalo. Now that that culture has obviously changed, what will that do to the free agency climate when it comes to talking to the Buffalo Bills? We'll see what happens. Jack Patrick says, keep Jordan Phillips. Again, I did say on here before that I expected to keep one of either Shaq Lawson or Jordan Phillips. Obviously, we're not keeping Shaq Lawson, so would love to sign Jordan Phillips to a bigger contract. Again, if Brandon Beane is worried about restructuring contracts and signing some of his own, that's the biggest name that the Buffalo Bills could re-sign. But I am happy that we didn't use the franchise tag. The franchise tag deadline was today at 11:59 a.m. and the Buffalo Bills did not use their franchise tag. We saw Dallas use their franchise tag on Dak Prescott. We saw New England use the franchise tag on that guard that I really liked. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. So we saw some guys use that franchise tag. We saw some guys make big money. We already seen Ryan Tannehill, quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, make big money. What does that mean for Josh Allen's contract whenever he gets re-signed, if he re-signs with the Buffalo Bills in about another year or two? Obviously, those numbers are going to escalate with the salary cap, right? Salary cap goes up due to a new CBA agreement. We have 11 years of football before we have to worry about contract talks again. And to me, that's the most important thing. So I'm very happy about that. Top Fragger says, hey, first of all, thanks for joining me. I just wish we would hear something. I want one big name guy, and I'm good. And again, there's still plenty of big names out there. So we have plenty of time to get to those big names. We'll go over some of those big names in a little bit. Buffalo's three biggest needs are wide receiver, defensive end, and CB2. See, and again, a lot of people are talking about those positions. I think offensive guard still is a decent, big need for the Buffalo Bills. I love the trenches, so I'm huge on getting some trench players. I love the offensive line play improvement from year 2018 to 2019. It could still improve, so I wouldn't be surprised if we spend some money on that offensive line. But all three of those positions we could spend some money on, and I'd be happy with that. Big name guy like Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. He's got a big name. Jack, I think they mean more in style of play and production on the field than production due to how many, whatever the name might be. So let's go over some of these names. And what I want is a simple yes or no. Do you want him on the Buffalo Bills or do you not want him on the Buffalo Bills? We'll go over the NFL's top 101 free agents. I'll go over the guys that have yet to sign anywhere. And you guys tell me, do you want him in Buffalo or don't you? And it starts with the number one guy. How do I feel about the Shaq deal? Again, I just am happy that Buffalo did not sign him for that much money. I think 10 mil for Shaq Lawson's a little much, especially when you think about the fact they only played about 40% of snaps last year for the Buffalo Bills. And again, Buffalo runs a rotating defensive end system, so you know that it's going to be a rotation basis. So unless you're a game changer like Yannick Ngakoue could be, I just don't think you're worth that kind of money. Now, we know Ngakoue would ask for about 20, 24 million, somewhere in that range. Is he worth that? I truly believe he is. I know I'm being nuh-uh, not you, Jack. No, I don't believe it from you. I only take you seriously. Amy, welcome to a sausage party. Well, no saying the gender there, so just be careful, Jack. Just be careful. But let's start with the first free agent, and that's Amari Cooper. Simple yes or no in the comment section. Do you want Amari Cooper with the Buffalo Bills? Again, Spot Track has him signing for about 18 million, maybe even up to 20 million now. With the hey Daniel, how you doing? With the new CBA, you're talking about possibly getting 20 million for Amari Cooper. Do you want Amari Cooper on the Buffalo Bills? Simple yes or no in the comment section. Let me know what you think. The Shaq played 47% snaps. Again, not worth 10 million in my in my books. Football is everything to me. I'm the weirdest. No, that's the greatest thing in the world. So we can sign Jordan. Hopefully, Jack, I would love to sign Jordan, but let me know yes or no. Amari Cooper from the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, Dallas had to use their franchise tag on Dak Prescott, so they couldn't use their franchise tag on Amari Cooper. Would you like to see Amari Cooper in Buffalo? As a Buffalo Bill, we talk about signing big names. That's a pretty big name, and that's a pretty big target for Buffalo, for Josh Allen. And if you think about signing Amari Cooper, that would take away some of that pressure at drafting a wide receiver. I know it's a deep draft class, and I still would want to draft a wide receiver, but definitely takes away the need to get him in the first round, and that would leave us open to getting a guy that Amy just brings up in a Claypool from Notre Dame. I love Claypool. I would love to pick him up third, maybe fourth round. I don't see Cooper coming to Buffalo. Doubt Bean would go for that. And again, we know that what Cooper has said about coming to Buffalo and how he would not be willing to do that, but his name's still out there. We haven't heard anything about Amari Cooper, so would you like to see him as a Buffalo Bill? Next guy on the list, Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney, defensive edge rusher. We have said that we need edge help. Would you want to bring Jadeveon Clowney into the Buffalo Bills? Now, if you look at Spot Track, we're going to go there now and see what kind of number do they think Jadeveon Clowney is going to need to become, to sign with another team. So I'm going to go there and see what kind of contract numbers we're talking about. I want a dog, not a wide retriever. Amy, I like anyone 6'4" who isn't a wuss. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want. I want a 6'4" type guy, 6'3", 6'4", and that's where Mims comes in at too. So maybe get Mims in the second round if he lasts that long, or you can get Chase Claypool as well. Either way, I think that's a good move, no matter which way you slice it. So, Jadeveon Clowney, would you guys want to see him in a Buffalo Bills uniform? Like I said, that helps with the edge. If you're worried about that, as I look up his contract details and what Spot Track thinks that he would have to sign for, as NFL Network is going through some previous deals throughout the day. Let me see if I can. What is going on? My computer's screwing. User error. I'm not gonna blame this on my computer. I'm gonna blame the user error. Whoa! Lots of comments just come through here. Again, thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, guys, hit that thumbs up button. I have a yes to Clowney. I have a no to Clowney by Daniel saying he's overrated. Trade for Diggs comes in. I would be interested to trade for Diggs as well. I mean, again, that would add some speed to your wide receiving core. But if you talk about Clowney, let's talk about what kind of number he would sign for, right? If you look at Clowney's numbers from according to Spot Track, let's see. I didn't know the Buffalo Bills currently own a wide receiver named David Clowney. Didn't know that. Just found that out. Just found that out when I looked up Clowney on Spot Track. Did you know the Buffalo Bills have a wide receiver named David Clowney? I didn't. So there you go. You learn something new every day. 20 mil a season. I think I would have to agree with Daniel on that one. Maybe a little too much for me. I'll take Clowney any day. Worth the money? I'm not sure. Again, you're talking about $20 million. $20 million. Who do you think you kidnapped? Chelsea Clinton? If you get that, again, leave a like on the hit the thumbs up button. Who do you think you kidnapped? Chelsea Clinton? Chelsea Carter? Chris Tucker. Great stuff. So let's continue to go down this list and look at guys who haven't been claimed. I'm not going to look at the quarterbacks because we know we're good there. Corey Littleton, linebacker. Again, a lot of people think that we need help at the strong side linebacker with the loss of Lorenzo Alexander. Maybe bring in a Corey Littleton. Now, he did play for the Rams, so I believe that means he was a 3-4 guy. I believe the Rams play a 3-4. But another thing that says here, breaking news. Breaking news. Bills signed AJ Clean All right, there you go. The Bills do something, but I'll check to make sure that about the accuracy on that. But yeah, so you talk about that linebacker position. I don't want to pay for guys that don't want to be here. We gotta draft guys because Buffalo has a dark cloud. No one wants to be here unless they old. Again, you guys have to remember. Not only do you have to think about the cold weather, but the culture in Buffalo was a losing culture for a long time. They wanted proof that we have a winning culture now, and guess what? We've kind of proven that, right? I think the Buffalo Bills have now proven that with Coach McDermott, with Brandon Beane, there is a winning culture here. So I think that we will see some of these guys come to Buffalo, and I would not be surprised if there's some big names, some Stephon Diggs. I'll take Littleton, absolutely. I will take Littleton. Again, helps with that strong side linebacker position. With the loss of Lorenzo Alexander. Now again, Raiders just signed Mariota. I knew they were working on a deal, Mark Davis, so no surprise there for me. But yeah, we're talking about some of the top free agents still available on the NFL Top 101 free agent list. And first two guys, you talk about Amari Cooper, and then you talk about Corey Littleton, two positions of somewhat need for the Buffalo Bills. So we'll see what happens with him. And then again, we're going through some quarterbacks. We have heard that the Buffalo Bills are in the Chris Harris Jr. talks. And wouldn't that be something? I mean, you want to talk about depth. You want to talk about great 1-2 guys. Can you believe that Tannehill might? No, I cannot. I mean, I really can't. Mariota to the Raiders. Who cares? I mean, again, Derek Carr's there. Derek Carr, we'll see what happens with him. But Mariota to the Raiders for a decent amount of money, I'm sure. But I think Derek Carr might still be a starter. It's true, Bills signed AJ Clean. Well, there you go. The Bills starting to make some noise in the NFL free agency period, as AJ Clean has just signed. Linebacker has just signed with the Buffalo Bills. 3 years, $18 million, 9.7 fully guaranteed. Head coach Sean McDermott coached him when he was the defensive coordinator with the Panthers. So let's talk about AJ Clean for a second. I might be saying that last name wrong too. It might be Klein. Who knows? You guys can let me know in the comment section. I'm sure someone over there, Jack, will give me a heads up about whether I'm saying his name wrong or not. But let's talk about some of his stats as a linebacker. We were just talking about the linebacker position, and here we are getting AJ from the New Orleans Saints, previously with the Panthers before that. So again, was previously with Coach McDermott, a former Panthers guy. I'm cool with him. Absolutely. Bills signed linebacker AJ Clean, 3 years, $18 million with 9.7 guaranteed. Yeah, Daniel, and that happened right here. We're covering it for you right now. And again, I'm going to do a video just on AJ when it comes out. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I will cover every single Buffalo Bills signing, and that includes AJ, who last year had two starts. No, I'm sorry. Nope, I'm looking the wrong way. That was in 2013. In 15 starts last season, he had an interception, and he returned it for a touchdown. He had 2 pass deflections, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 2.5 sacks, 69 total tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, 5 QB hits. So this is a guy who could do some damage at that linebacker position. Again, you talk about Lorenzo Alexander being gone, being retired, and we bring in AJ Clean for the Buffalo Bills to really help out with that position. Now we'll talk a little bit about him here. He was originally drafted by the Carolina Panthers in the 5th round in the 2013 NFL draft. 28 years old, so will be 29 years old by the start of the football season. Went to Iowa State. That's where he played college football. And again, he signed with the Buffalo Bills, 3 years, $18 million, $9.7 million. And that's the type of move that is not going to get shown on the NFL Network. But it's a big move. You talk about this linebacker position, a position that we needed. Borges. Come on, Joe. You can say it. Kez? Is it Kez? Kez. Hopefully, I won't need to say it soon because, man, I just don't want him on the team right now. But yeah, Clean taking over for Alexander. The Omister says absolutely. That's what I think is going to happen too. Again, guys, remember, if you haven't already hit that thumbs up button, to hit that thumbs up button. If we have you covered during the NFL free agency period, again, today started the tampering period, so NFL teams could talk to agents of NFL players, really get deals started. And again, the Buffalo Bills finally making an appearance, hearing their name come out and say that they're going to sign AJ Clean to a 3-year $18 million deal, $9.7 million fully guaranteed. That coming from Adam Kaplan. and I see a couple of other guys already tweeted about it as well. So that is the one move the Buffalo Bills have made so far. Jordan Phillips tweeted, "Big eyes, hold our breaths." Let's hope so. Let's hope so. And again, this is all live right here on Believers Talk. So again, thank you guys for joining me as we cover all of this news right here for you as it comes down the wire. I mean, again, this is the first day. There's still some big names out there, and we'll talk about some more big names. I mean, you could probably take let me see here. You can probably take Corey Littleton out of that conversation now, right? Because we signed a linebacker, so possibly not looking at Corey Littleton now. But you heard that we're interested in Chris Harris Jr. He's still available. What do you guys think about Dante Fowler Jr.? Again, a name that's kind of not being tossed around a lot, but a name that could really surprise some people if the Buffalo Bills pick him up, really help out. And you talk about a guy who has a little age to him, so maybe being in a place where he can rotate in and out isn't necessarily a bad idea. What do you guys think about Dante Fowler? Yes or no? Hit yes or no. In the comment section. Again, some of you guys talking about Jordan Phillips. Guys, don't get me too excited yet. Hopefully we'll see Jordan Phillips re-sign with the Buffalo Bills. Right now, again, just happened. The Buffalo Bills have signed former Saints linebacker AJ Clean, however you say his name, to a 3-year deal worth $18 million, 9.7 fully guaranteed. So that is the newest news coming out from Buffalo right now. I know that a lot of people are excited about Jordan Phillips, seeing what happens. Jamel Neal talking about Hushmanzada is also a big name, says Jack Patrick. I don't think he's in the league anymore, Jack. I don't know. Maybe we bring back out of retirement. But we'll see. I mean, he's rested, right? He's well rested. I believe he was a taller receiver too. Fits the need well. Probably get him at the cheap. Get him at the cheap, Jack. And that's what it's all about. You can't get the big names to come I mean, you're talking about big names. Hushmanzada coming to Buffalo. That's a big name coming to Buffalo, Jack. But give me Van Noy. Yeah, Van Noy is in Miami. He did sign with the Miami Dolphins. Miami making a lot of moves. Talking about Dante Fowler being injury prone, Jamel. But again, that might be a good thing to have him rotating then, right? Rotate him in, maybe have him only play about 50% of the defensive snaps, maybe prevent him from getting injured, keep him fresh on the sideline, give you a little edge. But yeah, what do you guys think about Dante Fowler Jr. potentially coming to Buffalo? Simple yes or no in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Did he go down south? Yeah, he went to Miami. He's going to sign with Miami. So let's talk about some of these other free agents as we wait for maybe more news by the Buffalo Bills, possibly talking about Jordan Phillips. What do you guys think about DJ Reader? He is still listed as someone who hasn't signed anywhere or hasn't been listed are going to be Super Bowl next. No, they're not. Come on, Jack. You're better than that. You're smarter than that, Jack. What happened to Kirksey? Kirksey signed with Green Bay. Kirksey signed with Green Bay, so he's off the board as well. Fowler is kind of an okay player, but what's wrong with an okay player if he could be a solid contributor on the edge for the Buffalo Bills? I think that would be an okay signing in my book if he signs for the right number. Excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second. Next guy on this list, again, DJ Reader. Just a simple yes or no in the comment section. Do you want DJ Reader to be a part of the Buffalo Bills? Defensive tackle. Now, a lot of that all depends on Jordan Phillips, of course. I believe that. Looks like we're worried about Clean a little bit with his injury history. Most concerning is an ankle injury that's brought by Banged Up Bills. Just tweeted that again. Follow Banged Up Bills on Twitter if you're not already. We're in a second here, a trip to IR last season for a groin, so an ankle injury and a groin. Those are things we're concerned about. Gary Marshall says Fins. I think we're talking about Miami drafting Tua. They will be a threat. I think they might be a threat in 2 or 3 years. I don't think they'll be a threat next year. Because remember, we're not even sure if Tua can play next season. So you're still talking about putting Josh Rosen at the helm. Maybe not Fitzpatrick. He's going to be gone. Fowler, depending on cost, said Aaron Clark. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think if the cost is right, Fowler could be a good contributor to the Buffalo Bills. And becomes for sure rather keep Phillips than get Reeder. I always prefer keeping our guys than getting a new one, but if you lose out on Jordan Phillips, you do have to look at DJ Reeder as a potential possibility. And then you look at Melvin Gordon. Guys, what would you think? We did hear that the guy I just brought up from the Rams is on the trading block. Gurley's on the trading block. Would you want Melvin Gordon to back up Devin Singletary? What do you think? Bills just traded for Julio Jones. Truth to hearts, if that happens, we're about to go. It would be so crazy up in here. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure I would see some news about that. But if that were to happen, that would be kind of crazy. No, around the Knicks, do not believe him yet. Joel Moore says, don't stop lying. I live in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure he would hear about it as well. But we have seen one big name wide receiver already be traded today in DeAndre Hopkins. They've talked about it long enough. I've been watching NFL Network most of the day here, and they've talked about it long enough. We need to get another big trade, and hopefully it would involve the Buffalo Bills, and hopefully we'd come out on the Arizona Cardinals side of things, because Arizona made out huge in this trade, if you ask me. You can't believe Buffalo Mafia News comes in, says thoughts on Clean. From what I've seen so far, he's injury prone, but he has worked with Coach McDermott in the past, who was originally with the Carolina Panthers as a 5th-round draft pick. And again, you look at some of his stats from last season, it looks like he can do some damage. And I'd like to see what he could do with the Buffalo Bills. We knew that we needed some linebacker help. It's a 98 Camaro. I like that, Jack Patrick. Don't mind that comparison at all. But again, we needed help at linebacker with the loss of Lorenzo Alexander. He brings some veteran leadership that we lose with Lorenzo Alexander. Obviously, he's not going to have control of that locker room like Lorenzo did, but maybe that's going to be Tremaine Edmonds this year. But he is a solid piece to a linebacking core that needed another piece. So we add him. We are out of sweepstakes for a couple of the other linebackers I mentioned, but we'll take it. We will take a good signing there. Hopkins was a steal. Fitzgerald replacement. I can't believe they got Hopkins for that cheap. I really can't. Excuse me. I mean, I know David Johnson has had really good seasons in the past, but those are long in the rearview mirror, if you ask me. But yeah, I feel like Houston got the bad end of that deal. But we'll see what happens with Jordan Phillips again. Let me see something here. Ian Rappaport just reported about a defensive tackle, but it's Jarran Reed. Okay, so it's not our boy. So Jarran Reed signs with the Seattle Seahawks, so we don't have to worry about him. But again, we're looking to see if anything happens. Klein rhymes with shine, fine, and pine. Thank you, Jack Patrick. That should be easy enough to remember. I'm sorry, I'm for the season to start, says Amy. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we've seen that there are going to be some delays due to the coronavirus. And again, guys, most importantly, I want to make sure everyone stays safe out there. Make sure that you're doing everything that the CDC has recommended. Stay stay beyond 6 feet away from people. Wash your hands every hour or so. And there's something else. I don't know, sneeze into your arm or whatever they're recommending. I don't know. Be clean, and whatever. Houston got abused in that trade. Yeah, I agree with that. Skip Bayless is our new special teams coach. Truth to Hearts, just spreading all kinds of rumors. I want Peterman. I thought it said Peterman for a second, so I was just a little thrown off, and I was like, I really don't want Peterman back ever back again. So yeah, I'm glad it wasn't him. But let's go through some other free agents. Robbie Anderson's a big one out there. Would you guys want Robbie Anderson on the Buffalo Bills? We've talked about him a lot on this channel. What do you think about Robbie Anderson? Just a simple yes or no in the comment section. Do you guys want Robbie Anderson in Buffalo? Again, he would add some pieces to that wide receiver core. A little bit taller wide receiver. Would Josh Allen do better with him than Sam Darnold did? The two 2018 quarterbacks. See how he would do, but I think that $12 million price tag is a little high, especially when you get some good wide receivers in this draft for pretty cheap. And I know people want to go after Amari Cooper. Guys, I did not see A.J. Green get officially franchise tagged. I did not see that at all by the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they're rumored to franchise tag him, but I didn't see an official franchise tag on AJ Green. So he might still be available for the Buffalo Bills if they want to look that way. And again, we know that the Buffalo Bills would be interested in an AJ Green type player. We know that wide receiver is a need for the Buffalo Bills. So what would you guys say if AJ Green was still available? Here's another good name that really hasn't been mentioned all that much: Everson Griffin. Everson Griffin had come back here last season. What would you guys think if we got Everson Griffin, edge formerly of the Minnesota Vikings? What do you guys think about that if we would pick him up? That would be a good move. Again, we haven't heard much from Buffalo Bills until I started this stream, and of course, then we pick up a player. We get AJ. What it rhymes with something? I know it rhymes with something. Rhymes with something. Jack Patrick says it rhymes with something. Shine. So Klein, right? Klein, right? So what if we got him? Well, we got him. So what if saw that there was a rumor in here too? Bills reportedly talking with Robert Quinn and Everson Griffin. So what do you guys think about Everson Griffin? Let me know in the comment section. Simply yes or no. Everson Griffin, would you want him on the Buffalo Bills? I like Griffin, says Jamel Moore. Gary Marshall says yeah. I think that would be a solid pickup for the Buffalo Bills as well. Again, we haven't heard much from the Buffalo Bills until late, right? We just heard about Clean, and I'm going to say that wrong again. Jack Patrick, you'll correct me. But we just heard about him, the Buffalo Bills signing him to a 3-year, $18 million deal, 9.7 guaranteed. That's a lot of guaranteed money. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that when we break down this deal a little bit, but I want to see how the rest of the deal shakes out. But 9.7 million does seem like a lot for a guy who is a little injury prone of guaranteed money. That means I want to see how that's broken down by year, right? How much of that guaranteed money is broken down by year? Hey, Evil Crazy, how you doing? Welcome to Believers Talk. We're here for the first day of the legal tampering period. Again, you hear a lot of things during the tampering period. Matt Breida, I believe, is a restricted free agent. He was listed on the free agent market, but I believe he's restricted. We're keeping Frank Gore. Frank Gore is a free agent. Most reports have come out and said he is not going to retire. I don't know if we're going to re-sign Frank Gore. I think Frank Gore is going to sign somewhere else. I think we're done with these one-year deals for running backs. But again, you have running backs out there. Melvin Gordon. You hear about Todd Gurley being in trade talks. What if Buffalo is in trade talks with Todd Gurley? Frank Gore could possibly still be a possibility. We'll see. Jack Patrick says 4:14 Hawaii time. And Jack, living in Hawaii, of course, enjoying the 80, 90-degree weather. Now, Jack, how much is the coronavirus hitting you out there in Hawaii? Is it a big thing out there? Or since you're kind of on an island by yourself, have you been able to avoid that? I just want to know, again, stay safe out there in either way. I'm sure you guys get a lot of tourists out there in Hawaii who probably carried it over to you. But let me know what it's like over there as I continue to send thoughts and prayers out to those affected by the coronavirus. And again, the corona outbreak, I believe, is affecting everybody. Tom Brady is staying in the AFC East, and he's staying with the New England Patriots. I truly believe that. Nothing got done yet. I truly believe that. Gore to New England will run for 200 plus yards and 6 touchdowns in 2 games versus Buffalo. No, he won't. This defense will not let that happen. Tom Brady gonna realize nobody loves him. What if nobody offers him money? That'd be funny. But again, the Bills agreed to terms with AJ Klein. I'm sorry, Klein, right? Klein, it rhymes with shine, so Klein. Brady's going to be in LA next year, the LA Chargers. That would be interesting. Isn't that where Tyrod Taylor is? Tyrod Taylor misses out on starting again? Darn, man. He can't catch a break. Coronavirus just starting. Community spread. Kids off school until March 8th. Yeah, kids got 2 weeks off here as well. Yeah, I mean, Jamel, I don't know what you're talking about with my thinking, or you're talking about Evil Crazy. I'm not sure. I think that Brady is staying in New England. I just don't think there is any chance he goes anywhere else, to be honest with you. I'm reading the report now from Buffalo Rumblings of the signing of Klein. So this is the first we saw. The Bills dip their toes in the 2020 free agent water. He'll turn 29 at the end of July and to leave with the Panthers. Like we said, Bills interested in Lamar Miller, says Daniel. Again, we're going to hear a lot of rumors. We're going to hear a lot of talk. We're going to hear a lot of chatter. But we'll wait to see what happens. I'm just glad to bring it up to you right here live. And again, we will do a video just on Klein, when we get a chance to do that, I'll probably do that either tomorrow, maybe late tonight or tomorrow, and that will be out as soon as free agency starts. I think a second running back would be great. Absolutely, Amy. We need a second running back behind Devin Singletary. The question is, are we happy with TJ Yeldon? Do we want to go somewhere else? If you go somewhere else, do you want to trade for a Todd Gurley type? Get Melvin Gordon in free agency? Go after Lamar Miller, a lower tier type free agent running back, or do you want to draft a running back, right? Talk about all the draft picks the Buffalo Bills have. You move up again in the second round, maybe get 2 second round picks, maybe get 2 third round picks, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. Maybe you get running back in the NFL draft. We got a pretty good one in the third round last year, so maybe we do that again. Maybe we strike the well twice. By the way, Joe, healthy people do well with Corona versus. Yeah, I know. Healthy people do well with Corona. My wife is actually works in the medical profession, so we're sitting in this house and we're saying, yeah, we're more than likely both going to get it. But again, we feel pretty comfortable knowing that, yeah, we are in our blank age, mid to early 30s, and we feel healthy and we're ready to. But the last thing you want to do is carry it, right? You don't want to be a carrier and carry it to the elderly, and then unfortunately, because yeah, like my parents are not exactly young people, so you have to think about them as well. You don't want to carry it to them. But again, I will continue to send thoughts and prayers out to everyone affected. Jordan Howard would be perfect with Singletary. I'm not a huge Jordan Howard fan. I think there's a reason why the Bears got rid of him. I think there's a reason why the Eagles did not play him that much. Now, I know he got injured with the Eagles, but I personally am not a huge Jordan Howard fan. Again, if the Bills picked him up, I would expect that they did their due diligence and that's who they wanted. Now, trust the process, so to speak, because again, the coaching staff, I've said this before on this channel, I'll say it again. This is the first draft in a long time where I'm not going to be completely upset or like I'm not hinging on the NFL draft, if you know what I mean. Like I'm going to trust whoever the Buffalo Bills pick up. I might not, I might come on here and criticize it a little bit, but I don't have that feeling of pressure, and that could come with not having a top 10 pick for the first time in what feels like forever. But I just don't have that pressure of, oh, we need to nail this draft, right? I want to get good players at the positions that we have, positions of need, right? Fill positions of need, and I want to get the best players available if possible. But I don't think, we don't need that star quarterback. I would love to get the best wide receiver in the draft, but drafting 22nd, that makes it a little bit harder to do so. Easy upgrade from Gore. I don't know who you said was an easy upgrade from Gore, but we'll see. Played 71% of the snaps in New Orleans, and heavy special teams player as well, which is always a big thing. Always a big thing. I like single carry. Jack, he was having a good time today, and I like it. I like it. Single carry because they don't feed him the ball enough. Well, that's Brian Dable, right? And we keep Brian Dable, of course, because Cleveland's like, no thanks. No thanks. I'm just looking at my phone now to see if there's any more news by the Buffalo Bills. I'm not seeing anything on NFL Network, but again, the NFL Network didn't report on the Bills picking up Klein, so we'll see what happens elsewhere with the Buffalo Bills. Still no news. Would love to see draft Justin Jefferson. That's a big name who did well in the combine as well. Would love to see if the Buffalo Bills do anything with Jordan Phillips tonight. Jordan Phillips obviously is making that tweet that everyone was talking about with the big eyes. Maybe he was having big eyes because of the signing of Klein. But yeah, I would love to see Jordan Phillips re-sign with the Buffalo Bills, as I'm sure a lot of you would too. He just tweeted that 26 minutes ago, so we'll see. I mean, we all know that he wants to be a Buffalo Bill. We know that he wants to stay with the Buffalo Bills, and I'm excited about that. Big news, Brian Dable is this way. If Bean Man's up, he'll move up to get Judy. I don't know about, again, I don't know about moving all the way up to get Judy. I want a taller guy. That's me personally. But again, if Brandon Bean does that, depending on what we give up to move up that far, I think he's going to be a top 10 pick, probably maybe even the first wide receiver off the board. Might have to move up far for that. Does that mean giving up a first round pick next year? I don't know if I want to move up for a first round pick next year too, right? I don't want to give that up, especially in a deep wide receiver class. I said the same thing in 2014 when we drafted Sammy Watkins. Why would you trade up in a draft that's heavy in one position for that position. I remember when we traded up, I thought we were getting Khalil Mack, and I was so excited. Guy from UB looked really good. I was so excited, thought we were getting Khalil Mack. Then we get Sammy Watkins when you could have got Odell, you could have got Jarvis Landry, you could have got Mike Evans. There were a lot of good wide receivers in that draft that you could have gotten. And we ended up getting Sammy Watkins. Calvin Benjamin was in that draft too. We ended up getting Sammy Watkins, who gives us one good year of production and then pretty much falls off from there. CD Lamb is where I'm looking to, Amy. I like the idea of CD Lamb, 6'3", 6'4", wide receiver at Clemson. Definitely creates mismatch problems for a lot of teams when they go against the Buffalo Bills. I like that. Yeah, Travis Henry was franchise tagged as well. They're talking about that. I want Isaiah Simmons and the Antonio Golden in round 3. That would be awesome, Jack Patrick. If we move up to get Isaiah Simmons, would probably cost us our second round pick as well. Maybe even cost us some big capital next year. I think Isaiah Simmons is a beast, and I'll say that over and over and over again. I just don't think the Buffalo Bills will move up that far because he's going to be a top 5 pick in my opinion. He's going to be a top 5 pick. The Buffalo Bills would have to give a lot of draft capital this year and next year in order to move up. Elliott comes in, and yeah, if we can move up to get him, that would be awesome. But I just don't know if the Buffalo Bills are willing to move up that far to get Isaiah. Again, I think he's going to be a top 5 pick. Chason fits more of a 3-4. Chason, I've seen mock drafts now that have him actually falling to the second round. So his draft stock's dropping a little bit. Don't know if he's a fit for Buffalo. But again, I know that Brandon Beane and Coach McDermott are going to do their due diligence. I trust Leslie Frazier, now assistant head coach of the Buffalo Bills. But again, guys, if you're just joining us, big news here for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills signed A.J. Klein, former linebacker of the New Orleans Saints. Previously to that, he was with the Carolina Panthers with Coach McDermott. 3-year, $18 million deal, $9.7 million of that guaranteed. Again, if you talk about A.J. Klein, you're talking about a guy who had suffered some injuries in his past, so you do want to look out for that. As Daniel just pointed out, played 71% of snaps so far. I believe that's a career stat, right, Daniel? So he does play a lot of snaps. He does fit a need for the Buffalo Bills with the loss of Lorenzo Alexander. But that's the biggest news for the Buffalo Bills right now. First real big name, or first name that we've signed in the 2020 free agent period. Again, first day of the legal tampering period started today at noon Eastern Standard Time. It started like at 4 in the morning in Jack Patrick time. Daniel comes in and says, rumor, Bills interested in a lot of players. Again, Bills have interest in players, but so do 31 other teams, or 30 other teams, obviously, if your team didn't re-sign you. But we'll see what the Buffalo Bills do. I think there's going to be more news today. I really do tonight, and I hope to be on here with you guys as the news breaks. I do have to wake up early tomorrow, though, so we'll see what happens. He wants a ring. Who wants a ring? Who wants a ring? If they want a ring, gotta come to Buffalo to get that ring. Let's not be cheap. You get what you pay for. I mean, again, are we going after a guy like Amari Cooper, Jadeveon Clowney, G.J. Fowler? There are a couple big names still out there that we could be going after that would fill needs for the Buffalo Bills that will cost that pretty penny and be big contributors to the Buffalo Bills coming here forward. Let's cross our fingers on Phillips. Would love to see Jordan Phillips. Wonder what that big-eyed tweet meant. I'm not sure if, again, that could be a tweet that he had for Klein, but how interested would you be in a move that the Buffalo Bills made if he wasn't planning on being a Buffalo Bill next season? So Bills have to spend like 95% or more of their cap this year to not get penalized for being too cheap. There is some rules about that, like a 30% rule, something like that. So, and with that new CBA, that gives us more money to spend as well. So we should see some big signings by the Buffalo Bills. You're talking about 2 more players on the roster as well. So with that money, we can use it towards those 2 new players. That's Amy loves Josh Allen. I'm still not sold on Josh Allen. I like him. I like him a lot. I want him to improve next season, so that way we can continue. We can stop the conversation. I just don't want to have that conversation anymore. I think Josh Allen's going to be our guy, but I'm just not sure. I'm just not sold yet. He definitely has the intangibles to be that guy, but we'll see what happens. 38 people in here, guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Again, really helps out the channel. I do appreciate it as we are live talking about NFL free agency. Again, today, the first day of the tampering period. Guys, the chat's going like crazy. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I love hanging out with Bills Mafia on this, what day is today? Monday evening. Just if you have something you want me to read, hit that super chat button. Everything I get off that super chat goes back into this channel to make sure you guys get the best Buffalo Bills content that I can provide. So, and again, I do thank you for that. Just reading through some of the comments. Jack Patrick says, I cursed him by buying my first NFL replica jersey. Talking about Josh Allen. Well, he had improvements last season. When did you buy that jersey? If you bought this offseason, then we'll see how he does next season. The Jack Patrick jinx. What's up with my eyebrows? I mean, they are my eyebrows. I don't know what you want me to do about my eyebrows. I can't do anything about my eyebrows. Believe it or not. I mean, what do you want me to do? Cut them off or shave them or whatever? No, I don't spend a lot of time in a salon. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'll take care of that. I don't have a makeup guy. I'm not popular enough to have a makeup guy to take care of that, or a girl, I don't know, to take care of that kind of stuff. But if you guys use the super chat, if I make enough money on this channel to get myself a makeup person, I will make sure to do that, get these eyebrows fixed up for you. I promise I will do that just for you. Thanks a lot. Girl Lockdown has the chat booming, says Jamal Moore. Hey, it's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate all the chat. Stefan Diggs, Minuano, I hope I said that right. I apologize. Stefan Diggs. So there's lots of trade rumors about Stefan Diggs. Stefan Diggs tweeted out earlier that it's time for a new beginning for Stefan Diggs. I like Diggs. Everyone likes Diggs. Last year, there was a lot of talk about Stefan Diggs coming to Buffalo. Everyone started that Twitter rant about how they saw Stefan Diggs in Buffalo, right? I like Stefan Diggs. I think he would add an element to this wide receiving core that we don't have yet, and I think he adds some potential as a threat in the red zone. Remember the Buffalo Bills red zone offense last season? Not that great. And so we can continue to see improvement there with the red zone offense. And I think Stefan Diggs would help with that. I think Stefan Diggs would open up the field a little bit more. Definitely a speedy guy, right? A speedy guy that we could definitely use over the middle, maybe as a slot guy. Leo Ox, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thanks, Joe. Love what you do. It's because of you guys that I get to do this, and I really appreciate that. I started this channel 2 years ago, and it's been nothing but a fun ride ever since. If you guys have been with me since the beginning, I started this with a partner. We had Steve on here. It was Billievers Talk with Steve and Joe, and unfortunately, due to some complications, Steve could no longer be part of the channel, and I feel bad about that, and I wish him nothing but the best. But really got this thing going, and I just wanted to continue it, guys, give you the best coverage I could, especially during the offseason, right? Again, that A.J. Klein signing is not something you're going to see on NFL Network. In fact, I've been sitting and watching NFL Network, and I still haven't seen it yet. Now, I haven't talked to you guys too, but that's the type of stuff you don't see. Now, I know that we all have cell phones now, right? So we all have capabilities to get an app that will just show us everything. Rick Rarick comes in and says, sub number 8. He's been here since the beginning, and I really do appreciate that, guys. And guys, if you're new to this channel and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that subscribe button for continual Buffalo Bills and Buffalo sports news. Listen, we'll cover the Sabres, we'll cover the Bulls. We try to cover all of Buffalo sports, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. After you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as we continue to watch NFL Network. We continue to pay attention to our cell phone to see what is going on. Again, the one big name we're looking out for right now is Jordan Phillips, right? Did Jordan Phillips re-sign with the Buffalo Bills yet, or are we still waiting? I gotta be honest, guys. The longer we wait, I'm not feeling good about it. That's the truth. The more we wait for this Jordan Phillips news, the more I get a little uncomfortable. I want Jordan Phillips to re-sign with the Buffalo Bills, but there are other options out there, right? If we don't get him, there are other options out there. So I don't want to make it seem like we don't have other options. But I love keeping guys in-house. I love keeping the guys that will make this team better. Again, Leo Ox, thank you for that $10 super chat. And again, I love the fact that I get to do this with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys right here on Believers Talk. Steve lost the power play against Joe. No, I think Steve would have won that for sure. I think Steve would have won that for sure. But it is what it is. I wish he was still here. I really do. But what if Phillips returns to Miami? Asked Jamal Moore. I still want Phillips on the team, says Juan Castillo. I'm sure that there are plenty of teams after Phillips, right? Jordan Phillips is probably getting a lot of offers right now. His agent's weeding through the offers. And we don't expect a hometown discount. We really don't. But I just wonder The Ravens agree with 3-year term with defensive tackle Michael Brockers. That's coming on NFL Network right now, so it's another defensive tackle gone. Even more reason why I want to make sure that we get Jordan Phillips back in Buffalo. Again, with all these defensive tackles continuing to get signed off the board, makes you wonder if maybe the Bills have already made it clear, and Jordan Phillips have made it clear that he is re-signing with the Bills as well. If they haven't looked his way, I'm guessing that Jordan Phillips will sign for about the same amount of money that Michael Brockers just did, 3-year, $30 million. So we'll see what happens. Again, I wanted to keep one out of two. I wanted to keep either Shaq Lawson or Jordan Phillips. Obviously, Shaq Lawson now in Miami, signing a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Miami Dolphins. But that means we have more money for Jordan Phillips. I would love to keep Jordan Phillips in Buffalo. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want Jordan Phillips back in Buffalo? Simple yes or no answer in the chat. Would really love to know what you guys think. Phillips is greater than Reader, says Jack Patrick. And that's another guy that we know the Buffalo Bills have been interested in is DJ Reader, formerly of the Houston Texans. As I say that, I look up and the Houston Texans are being talked about for that trade earlier today with the Arizona Cardinals, where again, I think the Houston Texans just got a really bad deal there, but they accepted the deal. You do have to remember that they accepted the deal for David Johnson and a 2nd and 4th round pick for DeAndre Hopkins and a 4th. But hey, Anthony, how you doing? Welcome to Believers Talk. Again, guys, thank you all for joining me on this late Monday night edition. Again, today is the first day of the legal tampering period, and it's good to have a distraction. Let's talk about that for a second. We've talked about Corona and the effects that's had worldwide. And it's nice, and I know the NFL has gotten a lot of scrutiny for continuing the league year as planned. But remember, a lot of this can be done via fax, via phone calls, via computer, via email, via texts. A lot of this can be done electronically. They don't need to be in person. And it gives us something to look forward to, and it gives us something to take our minds off of the real world for a second, right? To take our minds away from what's going on out in the real world. As Jack said, my basement might be the safest place in America right now, kind of like a Batman thing, right? Believe me, his penthouse became the safest place in Gotham City. So David Johnson is washed. Yeah, and that's why I think that Houston got the wrong end of that deal. But again, they had to agree to it, right? They had to agree to it for it to be a trade. So we'll see what happens. Jordan P wants Jordan P. Yes on Phillips, says Geek Squad. Zach says yes. Fax. What is this? 1998. My office still has a fax machine, and in times like this, it really helps to still have that kind of technology. That's what the Texans think it is. Maybe with signing Johnson, who again a few years ago was a good running back, but he seems to have tailed off. Now, could that be because of all the changes in Arizona? We're about to find out as we look at the Browns, who signed Case Keenum to a 3-year, $18 million contract. And when Case Keenum's getting $10 million guaranteed, you know that the quarterbacks are getting paid pretty well, right? Case Keenum, a journeyman quarterback. Now, breaking news coming across the screen right now. Oh, it's just off. See, they get me excited for nothing. It says breaking news, and it says NFL and NFLPA announcing off-season changes. We know about the changes, guys. OTAs being pushed back due to coronavirus. Williamson says Stephon Diggs to Buffalo. Again, would love to see that. I got all my side chicks. I would love to see Stephon Diggs to Buffalo. That'd be a great trade for the Buffalo Bills. And Lee says, let's go. Let's go. Let's keep going, guys. Again, right now, Buffalo Bills, not too much going on with the Buffalo Bills. Hold on. The Buffalo Fanatics just reported that we have acquired Stephon Diggs per Jay Glazer. Is this for real? Jay Glazer just says the Bills have required Stephon Diggs in a trade with the Minnesota. Then let's not get too excited, because remember the last time the Bills were supposedly going to trade for a big name wide receiver. As I say, let's not get excited, and my voice goes up about 10 notches. The Buffalo Bills have traded for Stephon Diggs. We got to get this news as soon as we can to you guys. What did the Buffalo Bills give up? Again, very exciting news just coming across right here. It's for real, says Anthony. It is true. Jay Glazer from Fox has reported that the Buffalo Bills have traded for Stephon Diggs. So let's talk about this for a minute. Stephon Diggs, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings. Big news coming out of coming out of Buffalo, right? Stefon Diggs. Let's look at some Stefon Diggs stats and show you the kind of wide receiver the Buffalo Bills are getting. Now we know that Stefon Diggs was not happy in Minnesota. We talked about this last season. A lot of news came across then, but last year Stefon Diggs in 15 games had 63 receptions, 1,130 yards, and 6 touchdowns for the Minnesota Vikings. And that's beside another big name in Adam Thielen. So, man, Stefon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills. Who says big names don't come to Buffalo? It's only 5 letters, but it's a pretty big name, Jack Patrick. A pretty big name. Guys, give me a thumbs up if you like that trade, whether it be in the chat or in the likes, guys. Again, don't count it till it happens. Who's your daddy? Let's go. We traded for AB too, says Aaron Clark. Like I said, yeah, remember the last time we traded for a big name wide receiver? Definitely didn't work out the way we thought it would. But Jay Glazer reporting that the Bills have traded for Stefon Diggs. So let's continue to look at this as we're live right here on Billievers Talk, and this is the kind of coverage that we are going to give you. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, like this channel, like this video, guys, as again, I will get you that trade information as soon as I have it. The Buffalo Bills trading for Stefon Diggs. Big news coming across as Billievers Talk is live. I'm happy to report it to you guys right here. Stefon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills. For what, though? Now it's a matter of for what? What did we trade for him? So 2 moves now by the Buffalo Bills. We get A.J. Klein, 3-year deal, $18 million, 9.7 guaranteed. And now it looks like the Buffalo Bills have traded for Stefon Diggs. Another Smurf, says Jack Patrick. Never forget AB. No, we can't forget about that. Let's wait to make sure that this is legitimate. But if you remember, last season when Ian Rappaport reported it, he reported that it looks like they're close to a deal. He said it looks like that the Buffalo Bills and Antonio Brown are close to a deal. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are close to a deal that would send Antonio Brown to the Buffalo Bills. This one straight up says from Jay Glazer, the Bills have acquired Stefon Diggs in a trade from the Vikings. It doesn't say that, we're close to a deal or that we are in talks with the Vikings. It says we have made that deal. Hey, Rez, how you doing? If you just joined me, guys, the Buffalo Bills have traded for Stefon Diggs. This is huge news if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. Now, again, to Jack Patrick's point, if you look at Stefon Diggs' size, you're talking about a guy who is 6 foot tall exactly, so still doesn't help us with that height problem. But man, you talk about some speed. You talk about opening up the field. Stefon Diggs, we've talked about it on this channel for a few times now. Drafted in the 5th round by the Minnesota Vikings in the 2015 NFL draft, going to be 26 years old when the season begins. Just really looking forward to bringing him into Buffalo. And for those of you who said big names don't come to Buffalo, Stefon Diggs, a pretty big name. Now I'm looking at NFL Network to see if they'll give us any trade details. I'm looking on Twitter. I'm looking all over the place to see what this breaking news is. Full trade. The Bills receive Stefon Diggs and a 7th round pick. Vikings receive 1st round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round pick, and 4th round pick next year. Wow. So the Buffalo Bills don't have a 1st round pick this year for Stefon Diggs. Let me know what you think about this trade. This gives me a whole new perspective on this trade. This is a crazy trade if true, but the Bills receive Stefon Diggs and a 7th round pick. Here we are. Yep, I just got my phone as well, so let's go over it. That's a lot, if you ask me. That's a lot. I have to calm down now and think about this legitimately. That's a lot to give up. Let me know if you're still happy with the trade. Hashtag Sports Diggs, baby. We got Stefon Diggs, but now, and there's excitement. There has to be excitement. But man, there's a lot to go on here. There's a lot to talk about. In return for Diggs and a 2027 round pick, the Vikings will reportedly receive a 1st round pick, a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick in 2020, and a 2021 4th round pick. Guys, what you too much, says Jamel. I hate it, says Chris. I was saying move up to get him. Man, that's a lot. Hashtag. That's a high price. I think Minnesota makes out. If that's 100% true, Juan Castillo says he hates this. If that's 100% true, that's a lot, guys. Let me know what you think. That's a lot to give up for Stefon Diggs. Now, I like Stefon. I'm not going to lie, but another dang Smurf, says Jack Patrick. And yeah, Donnie Burke, we signed AJ Klein earlier today, three-year deal, 18 million, 9.7 guaranteed. We paid the Buffalo tax, says Jamel Moore, possibly. That's a lot. That's a lot, guys, to give up. Again, I want to know what hashtag sports. We still have a second and third. We still have second, third, and fourth round picks, and we still have about 4 fifth-round picks. Rick Beam comes in, says that's way too much. Aaron says too much. You don't need a huge wide receiver in this offense. No, you don't. But and I'm not thinking that you do. I'm okay with the move to get Stephon Diggs. But now you look at what we gave up for him. That's a lot. I'm sorry. That's a lot. Surprised Bean gave up a first, says Daniel. That's a lot of future, says Aaron Clark. Danny Brooks has missed that. The Bills are trading a first. Yeah. Braze comes in here and tells us what we've heard. The Bills have given up first round, a lot of picks for Stephon Diggs. They had 2 fifths and 3 sixths. I understand that you're right. I just look at that first round pick and say that's a lot for Stephon Diggs. Personally, I just think that's a lot. But again, he does add something to this offense that we haven't had. So is he worth it if he moves us closer to that Super Bowl title? I mean, this could pretty much, give us a bigger leg up when it comes to the AFC East, right? Is that for real? Man, that's a lot. But let's go over Stephon Diggs. Let's go over Stephon Diggs' stats. Let's be happy that he's in Buffalo. We embrace Stephon Diggs, and we're happy to see him here in Buffalo. Over his career, you're talking about a guy who has started 63 games, 365 receptions, 4,623 yards, averaging over 12.5 yards per reception, 30 touchdowns in that time frame with a 75 long touchdown. And again, a guy who I believe has returned punts as well in his career. Let's go over to that. Yeah, in his career in 2016, he had a few punt returns, so I don't know if he'll be helping special teams too much. But man, I just think that's a lot. He'll get hurt in training camp and be on IR for the year. That's worth it, says Mark. Let's be more positive than that. Don't need red zone targets when he scores from 40. And I still think he gives you a red zone target hashtag. I really do. If he gives, if he opens up the middle of the field a little bit, you still have Dawson Knox who's in there at 6'3", 6'4", so now you have a guy in Stephon Diggs that linebackers really have to be aware of, right? Who might cut across the middle of the field. And when you talk about having a guy like Cole Beasley right there as well, you're talking about two guys who can really create a lot of openings for that offense. If everyone's concentrating on those two guys. Take Diggs over rookie any day. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. So I'm good with the trade. Hashtags talk me into it a little bit more. I still think it's a lot. But man, bring on Stephon Diggs. I mean, again, he's a great talent. So we'll bring him into Buffalo. Might mean the first day of the draft is a little less exciting for us as Bills fans. But man, silent for most of the day. Buffalo Bills silent from noon until about 10 o'clock. Eastern time, 10 p.m., 10 hours of not hearing much of anything about the Buffalo Bills. We heard they were interested in some players. We heard that they were excited about certain players. The only news was, they're interested in the cornerback from Denver, Harris, right? They're interested in some other things. I was bringing up Todd Gurley being in trade rumors, and maybe Buffalo Bills are interested in getting Todd Gurley. But now we hear Stephon Diggs traded to the Buffalo Bills. First, we get AJ Klein from free agency, previously of the New Orleans Saints and Carolina Panthers, and now a big trade by the Buffalo Bills, getting Stephon Diggs, giving up a lot for him. They gave up a lot for him, but we still get Stephon Diggs. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Trust the process is truth to hearts. Glad to have Diggs, no doubt, but surprised. Again, when this stream started, we talked about big names. Now the Buffalo Bills don't get big names to Buffalo. We got a big name now, guys, so we can't be too upset about that. Did it come at a price? Absolutely, but great talent comes at a price. And like hashtag just reminded us, I'd rather take Stephon Diggs, a known commodity, over a rookie wide receiver who you're not sure about. Remember, like I said, 2014, we trade up in the draft. We give up a lot to trade up in the draft to get Sammy Watkins. I think this trade's going to work out better than the Sammy Watkins trade, okay? And we only had to give up 1 year of draft capital. Last time we had to give 2 years of 2 first-round draft picks. So I'm okay with that. The guy didn't score. Well, he scored 30 times in Minnesota. He scored 30 times. He scored in Minnesota, and he was sitting beside another stud receiver in Thielen. So he can score some points. Don't worry about that, Chris. He'll score some. He'll score some points. What did we give up? I haven't seen it yet. We'll go over the trade again. It's a lot. It's a lot. But we'll go over that again. Give me 1 second. Let me get into my phone here. The Buffalo Bills get Stephon Diggs and a 7th-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Buffalo Bills give up a first, a fifth, a sixth, and a fourth in 2021. So remember, as reminded by hashtag sports, we had a bunch of fifths, we had a bunch of sixths. So we still have 5th and 6th round picks, but we had to give up a first this year and then a fourth in 2021. So that's what we're giving up for Stephon Diggs. So let me know what you think about that trade, guys. Again, a big trade here by the Buffalo Bills while we're here live on Believers Talk. So again, guys, hit that thumbs up button, like this video, and again, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed as we keep you covered throughout free agency. Stephon Diggs is 25. He will turn 26. No, he's 26. He will turn 27 in November. So 26 years old. We'll see what kind of deal he gets with the Buffalo Bills. How boring is this draft without a first-round pick? Well, yes, I mean, day one is going to be pretty boring for you guys. But remember, we still have a 2nd and 3rd round pick. And we still have a couple other picks on day 3. So you look at day 1 and you say maybe not as interested, maybe not as excited as you might have been before. But again, as I just said on this stream, I was looking at this draft saying the Bills can't really upset me or do something that makes me upset or mad or whatever, because we're not drafting in the top 10 anymore, right? A winning culture, that's exciting. Breaking news on NFL Network. So it looks like the trade is legitimate. It looks like everyone's reporting this trade. Again, it's not like last year when they said, oh, we're close to a trade with Antonio Brown. The Steelers and Bills are close to trade talks. It says this is happening. So we can always trade up. But how much more trade capital would we have to trade up to get back into the first round? Maybe late in the first round if we trade our 2nd and 3rd round picks, but that makes day 2 very boring. But still a lot going on with the Buffalo Bills. A big trade here. Again, not much news in Buffalo for the first 10 hours. When I started the stream an hour ago, nothing was happening. And since then, we have signed A.J. Klein to a 3-year deal, linebacker who will replace Lorenzo Alexander, I am sure. And then we also trade for Stephon Diggs. Big moves here in Buffalo at the end of day 1 in free agency. Again, a lot of you, and I'm there with you, is he worth a first-round draft pick? We'll find out next season if he's worth a first-round draft pick. Still some moves to be made in free agency. Still lots of money for the Buffalo Bills. You got to think about the money situation for the Bills here and say we could still go after some big-name guys in free agency, including a guy that's showing on TV right now, Robbie Anderson, who would add size. If you guys are talking about size, we could talk about Robbie Anderson. Jack's asking where Amy went. Apparently he misses Amy. I don't know what that's about. But again, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you guys for joining me on Believers Talk. As we he better than anything we could get at 22 proven. You can't disagree with that from Melvin Garrett. He's better than what we could get at 22. You think we need to go get AB? No, I don't. And I mean, if you get AB, you put Stephon Diggs back in the situation he was in Minnesota, right? And I don't think he wants to be in that situation. I think Stephon Diggs immediately becomes the Buffalo Bills' number 1 wide receiver. Now, when I say that, the worry is he meant to be a number 2? We have seen plenty of times. She's missing big news. Absolutely. We have seen plenty of times where the Buffalo or where any number 2 wide receiver somewhere has gone somewhere else to be the number 1 and it hasn't panned out, right? So you do have to worry about that. My first thought is the next Buffalo Bill, Peerless Price. Remember when Eric Moulds and Peerless Price were together? They were unbelievable, I thought they were a great 1-2 punch. Then Peerless Price went to Atlanta to become the number 1, and all of a sudden it just wasn't working out for him the way it used to, right? AB is toxic. We don't need to talk about AB. We don't need to talk about AB at all. We've been through that plenty of times right here and on the other channels. Talk about hashtag sports. Talk about Buffalo Fanatics. Talk about the Don Mafia. Talk about Cover One. All of them great channels. Make sure you're following them all. A lot of great Bills content right here on the YouTube channel. So again, if you're not following, follow them. Hit the subscribe buttons and hit the notification bells because we will have you covered throughout the offseason and the regular season when it comes to Buffalo Bills sports. All the Bills need to do now is sign an edge rusher, and we are golden, says I believe. Well, you hit three of our biggest needs in the free agency. Then, if you talk about the trade with Stephon Diggs, you talk about picking up AJ Klein at linebacker, and then, like you said, if you pick up an edge rusher here, then we really picked up three of our biggest needs. Maybe we go after Jadeveon Clowney. Maybe we go after a DJ Fowler. Some of the names that we could go after for the Buffalo Bills, the names are endless right now at the defensive end position. Maybe we go after an Njoku. Maybe there's another trade coming for the Buffalo Bills. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, as my friend Louis T would say. So again, guys, big news here. First of all, again, we were been live for over an hour now, so might be getting off here soon. But the Buffalo Bills signed AJ Klein to a 3-year, $18 million deal, 9.7 of that guaranteed. And then, of course, El Chapo comes in and says the Jags DE guy. Yeah, that's Ngakoue. That would be an awesome signing or awesome trade now for the Buffalo Bills, I think. And then the Buffalo Bills, a big trade, getting Stephon Diggs. They do have to give up their first-round draft pick in this year's NFL draft. We do give up a fourth and a fifth, I believe it was, a fifth and a sixth as well. But remember, we had a fifth and a sixth to spare. We still have a fifth and a sixth pick this season. I think we still have 2 sixth-round picks, actually, going into this year's draft. We get a 7th-round pick, and we give up a 4th-round pick in 2021 as well. So 2 wide receiver trades on the day, 2 big wide receiver trades. One with the Houston Texans trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals. The second, Stephon Diggs being traded from the Minnesota Vikings to our Buffalo Bills. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk for your continuing Buffalo Bills free agency coverage. I'll cover you throughout free agency, cover you throughout the draft, leading you into the 2020 NFL season. Again, I appreciate you guys joining me. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the trade for Stephon Diggs. Good riddance to Lawson, says Dynberg. Yeah, Lawson signs a 3-year deal. Still waiting to see what happened with Jordan Phillips. Want to see if Jordan Phillips will re-sign with the Buffalo Bills. That's pretty much the biggest move I'm waiting for at this point. But again, as brought up earlier, we do have that edge position to worry about as well. Will there be an edge that we pick up in free agency? As I'm checking out Twitter just to get some people's reaction. Yeah, Rico talking about it says he needs to process it too. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. You know, you talk about, and he's talking about, which is true. DeAndre Hopkins is gone for a second, and we get Stephon Diggs for a first. That seems like a lot. When you think about the 2 different trades, drop a like, says Elliot. Absolutely. When you think about the 2 trades, it looks like Arizona made out in the first one, but you really have to think maybe Minnesota made out in this one. Obviously, the value of these wide receivers was a little bit different. DeAndre Hopkins goes for a 2nd-round wide receiver, and David Johnson, running back who was good at one point, right? And maybe Houston has a higher grade on David Johnson than most of the league does. But then you think about what we gave up for Stephon Diggs. Top Fragger says, hell of a deal. Maybe this Diggs deal is very bad, and I'm not buying his jersey, says James. So we have differing opinions. Again, we're going to wait to see how the play is on the field. How does this play out on the field? That's when it's going to tell you if this was a good trade or not. You don't know if a trade's good when the trade happens. You have to wait 5, maybe even 10 years to find out if a trade is worth what we gave up for him. What did we really give up for him? A 22nd pick. Would you trade if you got wide receiver in the first round? Would you trade a Shenault for Stephon Diggs? Right? If the Buffalo Bills were planning on getting a wide receiver in the first round, and we're talking about a Shenault, maybe a Higgins, who would it be that you would say no? I wouldn't give him up for Stephon Diggs. That's a good question to ask. Diggs is not exactly a process guy. I trust that Brandon Beane and Coach McDermott did their due diligence when it came to Stephon Diggs being a process guy. I really do. There hasn't been many moves that they have made that haven't proven that they are looking at guys who fit their culture, fit the process. And I think that holds true here. Where's he at these days? Yeah, he's sitting over in Oakland, I believe. We won't know if it's a good or bad deal till after 2. Yeah, we won't know if it's right. William has a good point. We won't know if it's a good or bad deal yet. We won't know that immediately. So we could sit here and say, oh, it's a bad deal. But again, what wide receiver are you getting in the first round that you're saying, no, he's better than Stephon Diggs? What wide receiver are you getting? Again, look at Stephon Diggs' numbers last season. What wide receiver are you getting that will give you the type of numbers that Stephon Diggs gave you last year? We're talking about 63 receptions, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. Who's going to give you that production as rookie? Guarantee me that. You can't. You can't guarantee anybody. I can guarantee you Stephon Diggs can do it because he already has. You can't guarantee anybody can do it in the draft because they haven't done it yet. So you do have to take that into consideration. I do think the value is off between the Arizona and Houston trade and our trade. But Stephon Diggs is a Buffalo Bill, and we're going to appreciate that. So again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk for this free agency edition. I'll probably be live again tomorrow because there's going to be a lot of news between today and tomorrow. Again, I will be doing a video on AJ Klein. I will be doing a video on Stephon Diggs, so you can expect those to come out in the next few days, talking about my thoughts on the signing and trade and some of their stats of previous seasons and what they bring to the Buffalo Bills. I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of coverage on the trade between the Buffalo Bills and the Minnesota Vikings. Again, if you haven't heard the trade, if you're just joining in, you're just getting the news, the Buffalo Bills have traded for Stephon Diggs. They get Stephon Diggs and a 7th-round pick, and they give up the Vikings will reportedly receive a 1st-round pick in 2020, a 5th-round pick in 2020, a 6th-round pick in 2020, and a 4th-round pick in 2021. So big news there for the Buffalo Bills. Again, there's lots to talk about. Some people love the trade, some people hate the trade, but we won't know for years to come as to whether or not this is a good trade or not. And I think right now we just have to be happy that we got a star wide receiver in Buffalo, a guy. If you wanted speed at the wide receiver position, which a lot of you did, you got it. You got it with Stephon Diggs. So again, thank you guys for joining me on this edition of Believers Talk. I appreciate all you guys joining me. The chat was going crazy tonight. I love every minute of it. Again, if you're not subscribed to Believers Talk, hit that subscribe button. Like this video. After you subscribe, hit that notification bell. Notifies you when we go live, or when we post any content. So make sure you hit that notification bell. Again, thank you guys for joining me